What's good? Welcome to the SiMPL Life Podcast. I'm CJ.
I'm Jamie, and today we're going to be going over something that has affected us pretty hard the last couple weeks, and that's going to be effective time management. However you want to manage it, that's up to you. But the point is that if it's not actually itemized, lined up, and prioritized, then it's not going. It probably won't get done. It's whether it's something as simple as
Yeah,
dropping something off in the mailbox, or if it's something actually important. If it's all just scattered in your head like a swarm of bees, you're going to be missing a lot of steps. So the simplest solution is really just to put them all down. It's not that hard. Everyone can do it. But like anything else worthwhile, it does require accountability and repetition and discipline for it. So when I say I live by my calendar every single day, as things come up, whether it's immediate or the following week or even the following month, it goes on the calendar. And that I get pop-ups on my phone, on my computer when I'm working, what have you. It keeps me honest with that. So like, you have to do this thing now. But beyond that, on the day previous, I will sit there and look up, hey, what do I need to do tomorrow? And it just gets you in the mindset of saying, I'm going to accomplish X, Y, and Z. And that's really the crux of it. There's nothing super special about it. But like he said, hey, thing like summer to fall schedule is basically a meteoric or a polar opposite difference. It is, he just was working and working out basically for most of the summer. Now that he's in school, he still needs to do those things, but now he's got one more set of tasks to accomplish, whether he has to be on campus or is just doing homework or whatever. He's doing the good job of sitting there. This is my time for this. And that's another big thing. I'm not going to allocate 4 hours of my day to go to the store. It's going to be 45 minutes. That's all I need. That's all I'm going to allocate. But that means I carve out 45 minutes. That is my store time. So unless there's an emergency or an important meeting runs over or something like that, that is my task for that timeline, and that's what I hold myself to.
yeah, you do a really good job with your calendar, putting stuff down. I think visualizing like what you have. So like for me, I have my phone. I just put it in my notes. Like here's what I need to do
mm-hmm.
Because it just works better for me. It's like okay, so because you have so many thoughts in your head that whatever is important can get lost easily.
Mm-hmm.
So I just put it in my notes on my phone. I can just reference that whenever I'm like, okay, what do I need to do next? And I look through that
Yeah.
usually by like what's most important or what's time sensitive, and then go about that. And then on your calendar or on my calendar, I have like the important events that are like further out, or whenever I'm working on getting the daily schedule set for my calendar. But
And there's a lot of right ways to do it. Like, I am married to my Outlook calendar. Like, the Google
it's true,
calendar
yeah.
actually pisses me off. I hate using it. I don't like it. If I get something on mine, I forward it to my Outlook just because that's the structure and things that I'm used to. That's what I like to do it. He does his notepad. Other people use Google Calendar. Other people use just little hourly reminders on their phone. So there are lots of good ways to do it. I know lots of people that still do it old school. They actually have like a daily planner. It's just a giant journal that has the date, and you sit there and itemize what times and tasks you have. And so it doesn't really matter how you do it, as long as you don't really believe that everything swarming in your head is the best way. I assure you it's not. It just isn't. I thought
It
that
gets
way for a
messy.
long time too. Doesn't work. I love that for you, but it doesn't work. Do better. That's it. I mean, it's just really a matter of putting it down and making sure it's prioritized and accounted for. So, what we were saying is like, all right, well, we still have all these static things we like and need to do. Go to the gym, go to the store, get sleep, what have you, right? So when it comes time to actually, because especially if you've got a busy job, not just a punch in, punch out, but if you're running your own business, you have several jobs, you have several different priorities, kids, work, school, events, what have you. You only have so many hours in a day, right? I can go just fine on 6 hours of sleep. Most people need 7 to 8. Some people need a little bit more than that. And I can't remember if it was Arnold or The Rock that had this thing. I think it was pretty sure it was Arnold Schwarzenegger. It was like, listen, you have 24 hours in a day. You carve out 8 hours of sleep, and that leaves you with 16 hours left. You probably only work 8 to 10. So that means you have, let's err on the high side and say you work 10 hours a day. That means you have 6 hours left. of actual productive time in your day. Most people, especially in our society, will get off of work. They might spend a half hour to an hour doing dinner or whatever, and the rest is spent in front of the TV a lot of the time. And you know what? That's fine if that's all you got going on and you've checked the block and everything else. But let's be honest, if you're watching this, you probably don't fall into that category, or you might and you want to get out of that category. We don't spend any meaningful time watching TV, not because we don't like it. We love movies, we love TV. That's fine, but we have so much stuff to do. So we go to bed, we wake up at 4:30. Gym is a priority. We have to get that done at least 5 or 6 days a week. Otherwise, we're stir crazy and terrible. All right, fine. 4:30 to 6:30, that is gym time. Now, I have a kid. Well, 6:30 to 7:30 is wake up, pack lunch, get breakfast, get them to school, etc. All right, cool. That's that. So around 8 o'clock, that's when my day starts. Well, I only have until 3. So that is just, knuckle the bone, bam, 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 bam. That is really the only true time I have dedicated for work. 3 o'clock, school's over. Okay. Whether she needs help with her homework, or she's got soccer practice or a birthday party, it doesn't matter, right? These things come up and it's my responsibility to take care of them. Fair enough. I knock all that stuff out. At the end of the day, I might have 2 hours tops of time to do other stuff. Now, my work will usually dictate. I might have an evening meeting. I may have to do some extra admin or paperwork or what have you, and that's okay. But the point is, it's maximizing the available time that you have. And with that said, a lot of people, especially if you're younger, you're out of college or all the way into like your early to mid 30s, a lot of people will sacrifice their sleep to take care of work or what have you. Now, again, I said earlier, I can do okay on 6 hours. That's more of a sleep problem than an ideal issue. Okay, like I don't love getting 6. That's just sort of what I get, and I wake up and go about my day. But the biggest CEOs on earth are like, no, I'd rather get my 8 hours than work, 18, because I'm far more productive. I'm more on the ball. I'm more focused. I can spread tasks around way easier if I have better sleep with a smaller work day than vice versa.
Yeah, it's quality over quantity.
Yes, absolutely. Especially when you break the 30-year-old mark. I mean, all of us were 20 something in studs and like just going off of 4 hours of sleep and just had the world by the balls. It doesn't. God damn it doesn't work that way when you get older.
Yeah, so that's why you got to establish the foundation early.
Yes, get the habits early on.
And just stay consistent for 20 years or however long.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think quantity over or quality, not quantity over quality. Quality over quantity is the way to go, really, with anything, but especially time management. If you're busy like you got a job, a business, kid, like you also need that time to recharge so you can actually be productive. Because if you're just going like 24/7, like just trying to do everything all at once, and especially if you don't have a strict schedule to stick to, you're just gonna burn out like real quick, real easy. And I've learned that the hard way. It's like you gotta like sometimes just taking the break and just like I like to just go outside and walk. Mm-hmm. It's perfect to recharge everything, like unplug, and then that allows me to go harder in the time that I do dedicate to whether it's school or work or like SiMPL, just like anything, or the gym. Mm-hmm. You need that dedicated time in your schedule as well for yourself to recharge. And I don't, I can sometimes do that with like entertainment, like TV, stuff like that. I enjoy it sometimes, but for the most part, it's like I also see the recharging part as like an active thing.
Yeah.
As well. So like, like you're actively, like for example, go outside, walk, I'll go to the park, just like sit on the bench. Like I'm actively engaged in my surroundings, but I'm not like just
working.
Or like my mind isn't just numb, like watching something. It's like I'm actively engaging in reality. And I am a firm believer that that's what helps me go harder in the areas of.
Yeah, but you also got to be realistic about your priorities, and you need to be really introspective about what's truly important to you. Like I know people that swear up and down that if they don't get a couple hours of like HBO or whatever before bed, that they're going to get terrible sleep, or that's a little reward for the day, or what have you.
You
But
got,
nobody wants
yeah.
to, talk about the fact that that is nothing more than just free dopamine. It's just, and it also keeps you awake longer, and you have this wonderful computer lodged in your head that most people are more than happy to just write off as something that gives them anxiety. But a lot of the problem is they themselves give them they give it to themselves. They
Yeah,
produce their own anxiety. Why? Because more often than not, they don't get good sleep. Why? Well, because they stayed up late watching Game of Thrones for the 50th time, and then they sleep in, so they don't work out, and then they just sort of wake up, putter around. They're tired now. They're anxious because they didn't get the things done. So then they go to work all flustered. They work all day, and because they feel like crap in the morning, they eat like shit for lunch. It's this big
it's a cycle.
self-perpetuating cycle, and
Yeah,
it's like really, again, focusing on the discipline and the prioritization. What is actually important to you? Like I said, I love TV. I've spent probably, if I really wanted to get into the math, which I don't want to because it'll be depressing, I've probably spent actual months of my life glued to a TV watching all these movies and all these shows, and I love them. They're great. Have they done me any favors? Well, on trivia night, yeah. Okay,
yeah.
like who's the actor in this one? I got it. Yeah, that's not actually useful or good. It's handy for that weird scenario, but otherwise, it's not actually meaningful. And I know I'm aware of that, which is why I do my best to make sure all the other actual important stuff is taken care of before I do that. But I also don't treat it like I need it. All right, distracting yourself with Instagram or a TV show or movies or whatever is really not a good excuse to
it,
sacrifice the health of your brain and your body. It's just not.
it's an escape.
Yeah.
And we just touched on time management. Let's talk about the discipline aspect. Holding yourself accountable,
Mm-hmm.
because you can want all this stuff. You can want to be better at managing your time, or want to be better with engaging in like a marathon of TV or movie or movies or whatever. But it's like you actually need the discipline to establish and maintain that habit. So I guess for you, what would you say helps you the most with staying disciplined?
Uh, Honestly, it comes down to necessity of my performance the following day. Let's say I have nothing going on for like next Sunday. Yeah, I'll probably stay up late on Saturday, watch an extra episode of Sopranos or something. Why? Because, well, I like it and it's nice to have that break. And there's no real need for me to be just on my game on Sunday. That's my rest day from the gym. It's just chores and errands. So it's nothing critical. But during the week, I sit there and have this conversation with myself every day. It's like, all right, what do I have going on tomorrow? Well, I have the gym at 4:30. So no drinking, or
Yeah.
I might have a beer, but that's about it. So no drinking the day before. Okay, got it. That wipes that portion of the evening out of my permitted activities.
Mm-hmm.
I also, since I'm waking up at 4:30, I need to at least be asleep by 9:30, 10. Okay, so that means I can't sit there and just keep on just hitting next episode, next episode, next episode. And then, of course, the gym helps me wake up and become more functional for the rest of the day. If I have a lot of stuff going on the next day, then I know I can't do those things. So it spirals that way. So some things on my calendar are not actually super critical for that day. Some of them are, right? I have client meetings of one realm or another. I have to make sure that my kids got XYZ for school that we don't have already. I need to make sure that the dog goes out, right? Because otherwise I just end up with a big pile of shit on the floor. It's not that, it's like, what do I need to do? This stuff. Okay, great. That gives me some leeway throughout the rest of the day. But knowing what I have for the next day really dictates how I spend the day before. Now, I consider it lucky that my calendar is, I mean, you've seen it. If you look at
Yeah.
Outlook, it's just nothing but blue bars all day long. I've got, big time window that's just, submit this paperwork. That's too easy. I'll get to it when I can. But in the meantime, it's like meeting, store, meeting, things like that. So knowing what I'm expected to do and what's important that I get done the next day oftentimes dictates how I do it the day before. And it works. It works just fine. Like I said, Sunday is basically the closest thing to have to a day off. I'm oftentimes in the morning still doing stuff. We wake up, I eat breakfast, I go up to my computer and work for a few hours.
Yeah.
That is what it is. But that's hardly the critical task. So prioritization is another big thing. And that will vary from person to person, depending on your work, depending on your lifestyle, depending on what else you have going on. So I have lots of things that are true priorities that have to get done. If I forget to feed my kid because I had a work meeting, nobody really won on that one. So it's like, okay, I do need to make sure this happens, allocate the time. Things like that. The other stuff, I got to order new shoes. Yeah, that's one of those get to it when you can. It's hardly like a life-changing priority unless you're in fact wearing your feet through the bottoms. But yeah, that's really it. Just being honest with what is a meaningful priority and then allocating the time accordingly, and do my best to not double up on stuff. I fell into that trap quite a bit about,
Like, what do you mean, like double up?
4 or 5 years ago. So, it was actually during COVID, right? So, my job revolves around, or at least it did when I was, early on, was revolving around booking and running meetings. So the math says you got about a 25% likelihood that meeting will actually run. It's like, okay. So I got to the point where I was, so desperate to just run meetings that I would book them on top of each other. Like, odds are one of these people ain't going to show, if not both. And a couple of times they both show. You have any idea how hard it is to sit there and coordinate two conversations at once? Like, you're not doing it. Like, you got to turn your camera off and sit there, like, let one talk, mute it, and then sort of try to jockey the conversation. Like, A, it's dishonest and it's like, it's not respectful of their time. But B, it's stupid because now, you can't effectively focus on two things at once. I know lots of great multitaskers. No one's a great multitasker. You can just sort of make it work. But
that's so true.
But it's not, it's not quality. At that point, it's quantity. So yeah, allocate your time for a specific thing and then just do that. And the next block of time, whether it's 30 minutes or 45 or what have you, just bam, bam, bam. And it works.
Yeah, I think another great trick that I use is if you're doing something that requires your full attention and is, it can be hard or whatever, just like kind of tedious, like focus on, let's say, like, I'm doing schoolwork. It's like, all right, I'm going to do schoolwork for the next 30, 45 minutes and then give myself a little reward of like a 15 or 20-minute break. Because you can't, like, we're just not really designed to be able to do constant mind-numbing or intellectually challenging tasks for hours straight.
Yeah,
you just burn out. Like,
people can do it, but it's like at 60% capacity.
Yeah,
I mean, like, for studying, right? I have to hold like 5 different professional licenses, and I got into the habit, just like I did when I was in school, would just sit there. It's like, I'm going to just hit the books, no stopping, for like 4 hours. I retained jack shit. I was like, then you got to go back and do it again. And then I was reading, can't remember the book, but it basically shows, like, the biggest CEOs in the world. Like, the reason why they're so good at it is, A, they surround themselves with people that are better than them. But following that, it's their time management. They don't do anything that requires 45 minutes or more than 45 minutes of their focus time, because scientifically, you just can't. Yeah. It doesn't work that way. You get distracted. You get tired. I mean, how many of you have had to sit through like just tons of like webinar training where you sit there just glued to a screen? If you can tell me right now that you retained all of that, I'm going to call you a liar.
It's bullshit.
It's sorry, man. I don't make the rules. That's how it works. So when you are in charge of your own schedule, he's got a ton of stuff to produce. He has to manage, production for SiMPL. He has to manage school. He's still got work. And then, of course, there's the, family, social life, gym, sleep, all this other stuff. But he blocks it out, half hour, 45-minute increments. So if he's got, 4 hours of schoolwork to do, he's not just going to sit there and grease through it at 4 hours straight, because it'll end up being probably closer to 6 hours because he won't retain anything. The work will be slow and sloppy.
Quality goes down. Yeah.
Right. So he does 30 to 45. I do the same thing. You do that, and then the like the treat, the 15-20 minute, it's not, yeah, it feels nice because you get a break from work, but it's also just you're just putting more juice in your battery, and it works like a charm. 15
Yeah,
minutes.
you just
Go to
reach.
the bathroom, you get some water, you
Yeah,
stretch, and then you sit down, you do it again. You can do that all day. And it's lovely because you actually get a lot more work done. I mean, you can check off tons of tasks that way. I mean, yesterday is a great example, right? I had stuff blocked out for the whole day.
mm,
And I was like, oh, today's going to, or yeah, it was Sunday. Like, this is going to be awful. I'm supposed to be like my day off. I want to have fun, just relax or whatever. But I went up there like 9:30, and I was up there until about, noon. So lunchtime. So, but I knocked out about 6 hours of tasks that I had on my calendar in about 2.5, 3. How? Well, it's not that hard. I just sat there and I just focused. That was what I was doing for this time. No YouTube, no movies, no text, no nothing. Just work, knock it out, work, knock it out. Boom. My timer goes off at, 45 minutes. Stand up, go to the John, come back, do it again. And I smoked through all those things. I mean, I was looking at it on Saturday. I'm like, this is going to take all day. Now, again, none of these things were super critical, but it was important I got them done. Print out FedEx labels and stuff. It's not that big of a deal. But I had a couple hours for that because I had a bunch of them to print out. I was like, it might take a long time. My printer sucks. The internet's weird. Who knows, right?
yeah,
So I allocated this time window for it. But when you actually focus in on it and just dedicate your time for that work, the time window shortens like crazy. So I was done by lunch, had the rest of the day off. Wasn't bad. I was like, oh, well, this is nice.
yeah, and sometimes, like for me, for my tasks, especially simple, because I fucking love simple and doing anything for it, no matter what it is. Um, I just kind of see it as like fun. Like I just kind of see it as like play. So
Yeah.
like for example, like today I got a lot of schoolwork to do, so I'm going. It's probably total around like 4 hours maybe. So after this, I'll dedicate about 2 hours to that with those mini breaks in between,
Mm-hmm.
and then after that, so I'll be like halfway done for the day. I'm gonna do some R&D, research and development, for the scalp oil that we have, and to me that's like fun. So like I love it. So I'm gonna do that, and that's gonna be take a couple hours, and that'll take my mind off of things. I enjoy it, so it's like it's a nice break from using my brain too much,
Mm-hmm.
and then go right back to the schoolwork, and then boom, now I just knocked out like what, like 6 hours of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't feel like I don't feel burnt out. I don't feel taxed.
And I will say this: we are lucky that we actually do enjoy like all of our work.
Yeah, yeah,
Like he's in school. He doesn't see it as like a third grader when it's like, oh, school sucks. Like, no, this is I'm here to learn stuff. It might be something I'm not familiar or comfortable with, but I still have the opportunity to learn. And so it's a good outlook thing.
yeah,
If you're if you go to work and you just like hate your job, which unfortunately a ton of people do, a lot of times because of who's there, right? Maybe you have a shitty boss, or maybe your office coworkers are just garbage humans, or maybe your work is just massively unfulfilling. Yeah, I don't know. And I can't, honestly, if that's the case, I'm sorry for your troubles, because that's a drag. I love all three of my jobs, so I don't mind. I tell people I have 3 jobs, and they're like, "Oh, good God, you must be the most unhappy human alive." I'm like, "No, I'm doing great.
chilling.
I love it." It's like, why?
Yeah,
Well, I get to work with really good people. I get to do meaningful and good and reasonably exclusive work, and it's kind of unique and it's interesting. I love it. So I don't have problems like that. Like I said, this is very lucky, and I don't want to come off as braggy about it because it's not the point. The point here is that it does objectively get more difficult for the objective time, or for the meaningful time management, if you do hate your job, because that will make you chase wanting all those extra treats and rewards, and just doom scrolling and burning a lot of your extra time. So I guess that could probably be a topic for another episode, as far as finding fulfilling work in your life.
yeah,
But if you want to make the shitty job go faster, honestly, keeping yourself focused about what you're there to do. I don't know. Give me a shitty job. I don't know.
plumbing.
Oh, dude, those guys. That is an actual shitty job. But most plumbers actually like their work because they get the print money. But okay, let's just say you're a plumbing like assistant. You're just the gopher on a giant job and you got to sit there and dump septic tanks or whatever. That's a drag, sure. But if you just sit there and brood about how shitty your job is and how much you don't want to be there and how much you want to leave there, well, then your quality of work is going to go down. You're going to have more work to do later. And then you are going to do what we talked about earlier, which is after you get off, you're going to sit there and spend 4 hours or whatever just trying to escape from your own reality. If you just knuckle down and start looking at stuff for those blocks of time, then bam, you're good to go. You've worked in a restaurant. I've worked in about a dozen of them.
Being a waiter?
Hell,
Okay, that's a shitty job.
That's a shitty job.
Yeah.
It sucks.
I'll take a plumber over that anyway.
Yeah, people treat you like garbage, and you're there for like 8 hours, and you work for dog shit, and
You just gotta be
tips.
a yes man
Yeah,
the whole time.
And it's a drag, but you know what? It's kind of necessary for the restaurant industry to survive. So if you're there, you take pride in your work, right? I grew up with like, hey, you're going to put your name on it, right? If the work you're submitting, it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's presentation of a dish or submitting a school paper or you're building something, if you're not going to do it to the point where you put your name on it, then just you probably shouldn't be doing that or anything. But again, everybody's had a job that they hate. Everybody. It's typically when you're young and you're just taking what you can get, like sitting there slinging French fries at McDonald's or what have you. But if you're doing that and you keep it in your head as like, this is my job, I have agreed to do this work for a wage, I'm going to do it, and you sit there and you just focus on it, however mind-numbing it may be, for those 30 to 45-minute blocks, take a short break, get back to it, you will ultimately feel more fulfilled with it because, the inherent pride of doing your best at something. I mean, I've done my best on stuff I hate doing, and I don't feel bad about it afterward. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be just, doing a chore, like sweeping up dog hair, for God's sake. I don't love doing that. I hate doing that. My dog sheds like crazy. But I make sure I get everything and all of it. And this is my task for right now. I'm not going to leave a big pile on the floor. I'm not going to get distracted. I just do it, knock it out. Boom, task is done. Floor is clean. I feel good about it. Not because I love the work, but because I took the time. I did it well. Boom. Next thing. And yeah.
Yeah. So overall, keep it simple.
Keep it simple. Bet you didn't see that.
Yeah. No, but like really, like after everything we talked about today, you can kind of just generalize it to be pretty simple.
Mm-hmm.
Block out time for the everything in your day. Prioritize the important things first. If you need to, like I do, take notes on your iPhone, put it in your notes, and then you can refer to that for whenever you're ready for your next task. Discipline, staying on topic, but still giving yourself that reward system of little breaks so you can actually be functional, quality over quantity.
And if this is like a completely brand new world for you, like just has never been part of your life before, just like anything, like I've never been in the gym and you want to work out, you don't go in there with some incredibly complex and super time demanding bodybuilding routine. If you want to lose weight and you want to work on your diet, you don't just sit there and go hardcore into a crash diet and hope that you'll be able to maintain that forever. This is similar. I mean, it is a habit thing. So start with baby steps, right? Just get the big things lined up for you so that way you can actually do it, experience it, manage it, and realize that it's not going to kill you. And then you can build on it from there. So maybe leave off the extraneous details. Like I really need to, get some, 12 new pairs of socks. That can probably wait till Saturday. All right. Yeah. Focus on what the real important things are. And then, like he said, hold yourself accountable, and it'll change your life in about 3 months time. You'll be a completely different person if you really hold yourself accountable and manage your time effectively. How many people my age and older do you know that have this constant look of regret because they've wasted so much time? Like that's what the midlife crisis is more often than not.
Countless amount. That's why my goal is just to not be like that.
Yeah. Well, I've seen so many people that are like, oh God, I've been doing all this stuff for so long, and what the hell's it all been for? It's like, well, because you worked for the weekend. You just did whatever you needed to do just to skate through and hope you have enough life to spoil or enough money to spoil yourself with, like partying or TV or what have you.
Yeah, and that's the greatest thing about owning a business. It's your thing, and it's really up to you to decide where you want to take it, like how how big you want it to be, and that's an everyday thing.
Mm-hmm.
So like, and if you're smart, obviously you'd make a business and something you enjoy and are good at.
Yeah.
And that allows you to work on the weekends, but still feel like, it's like leisure time.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I'm making products or, selling product or going somewhere or just doing anything for SiMPL on the weekend, it really no matter what day it is, but even on the weekend, I'm like, this is awesome. This is fun.
Yeah.
I like it. So,
well, in the spirit of time management, I think we're nearing about 30 minutes. And, well, whether we like it or not, I think it's about time to wrap it up. Got any parting message?
As always,
Okay.
keep it simple.
See you around.
Yeah.